Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Formula One race commentary for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, as well as this week's live AstCa news. And we've got a few things to go over. Sorry, I'm just adjusting the camera. I've got a few things to go over this week on AstCa news. Some good, some not as good. But I'm also going to do a bit of pre-race talk once I finished AstCa news, because last time I did finish it much quicker than I was expecting. So, yeah, I thought I'm going to do a little bit of pre-race stuff as well. So, AstCa news, what's happened this week? Well, to me, nothing much in particular. Except, I finally finished Microsoft Excel. Thank God for that. It's been a very long road to get here, but at long last, I've made it. So, thank goodness for that. So now it's on to Microsoft PowerPoint, which I do think will be a lot quicker to get through. Now, we of course had some news yesterday about Sam Neill, and I've got actually a slight correction to make on the reports that's been spreading around. Yes, while he has had, in the past, stage 3 blood cancer, he is now in remission, so for the moment at least, he's okay. So there's no need to worry too much, guys. He is okay, which I thought I'd just mention now. Just checking that we are live and it is public. Just going to do a bit of Inception on my own stream. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so we are live. Good. I haven't been talking for the last 2 minutes to myself. Thank God. But yeah, Sam Neill is okay. I haven't managed to finish Halo 3 yet. It's been a very busy week on account of, Microsoft Excel. So I haven't been able to finish Halo 3, but I am hoping to finish it in the next couple of days. If not, well, definitely before next weekend's Astoundcast. That I do know, because I do want to talk about Halo 4, if I can, as well. Yeah. Also, I've got myself a new console. I'm finally a Switch boy. Yep, at long last, I've finally got a Nintendo Switch Lite, and so far, I'm loving it. It's really, really good so far, and I really can't wait to play some games. Like, I've already got some games on it, because when I bought it, I immediately signed up for Nintendo Switch Online, and I then got the old game console game packs from, the NES, the Super NES, the Sega Mega Drive, the N64, the Game Boy, and the Game Boy Advance. I haven't played too many games on them yet, but so far, I am really enjoying them. And I've got to say, well, I say not many. I've only tried 3. I've only tried so far Super Mario. Oh no, sorry, 4. The original Super Mario Bros. Legend of Zelda 1, really good. Donkey Kong, the original arcade game. It's a feature Mario, and GoldenEye 007. So, I haven't tried too many so far, but yeah, so far I'm really enjoying the Switch. I'm hoping to get some games over the next few weeks for the thing. However, I'm not going to be using game cartridges. I'm going to be going all digital. So I've done the same with the Xbox, I'm doing the same with this, and I'm doing the same thing with the PlayStation. So, from now on, my games are going to be all digital. So, mainly because I tend to lose the things, lose the discs or the cartridges, so I thought, you know what, screw that, and I'm just going to go in for the good old digital. Because that does seem to be a thing that a lot of games companies are doing presently. So I'm really looking forward to the Switch, like, unlocking it fully, because I haven't played much of it. I only got it yesterday, so I'm still fairly new to it at the moment. The buttons are really easy to figure out. Like, they're very similar to the Xbox buttons. The only difference is being that the X button and the Y button are switched, which is a bit weird, and it's going to be very strange when Xbox games start coming. By the way, turns out Call of Duty isn't available yet on the Switch, but I can only imagine that's not going to be too far away, given the deal between Xbox and Nintendo, which I, of course, talked about in the Astoundcast a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, that's kind of it for AstCa news this week. Not too much has gone on, really. Trying to think if I've missed anything. For once, I have not. Oh, there is something in regards to F1, which does lead me quite nicely into the pre-race F1 section of this, and it is the fact that Australia will remain on the calendar until 2027. Yeah, we've got Australia for quite some time now, so that's going to be quite fun to see how that race goes on for the next 4 years. Of course, we have the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix today. The Australian isn't for another 2 weeks. Yeah, after this race, we got another week-long gap, and then it's race week again, and then a month off. Yeah, we're pretty much taking off all of April's being taken off by F1, so we're not going to have any races until, I think, the final weekend of April, so it's going to be quite a few weeks until we head off to Baku. But yeah, really looking forward to this week's race. Of course, Max Verstappen had an absolute disaster in qualifying yesterday, as in qualifying 2, the second round of qualifying, his car just cut out, which meant that Max will be starting today's race from 15th place, only 5 away from the back. And Charles Leclerc has had to take a 10-place grid penalty for this race, which will put him down into 12th. He qualified in 2nd, but this penalty will knock him down to 12th due to the 10-place penalty, and that penalty was for the engine components he had to replace last week. Now, unlike most components, for which you're allowed 3 per season, the particular component he had to replace is an allocation of 2 per season. And unfortunately, he burned through both of them in Bahrain. So he's now on his 3rd, which has resulted in a 10-place grid penalty, which is an absolute hammer blow to Ferrari. Will they claw it back? I don't know, because Carlos Sainz is, I think, only in 4th, so it's not too much damage control, really. It's just Charles Leclerc's got to get back up there, along with Max Verstappen, obviously. What I am quite impressed with is that Sergio Perez took pole. What I'm even more impressed with is the fact that Fernando Alonso is right alongside him in 2nd. Yep, Fernando Alonso will start this race P2. And behind him is George Russell in P3. So this race has a very interesting... This race is going to be very interesting. Like, there's many ways this thing could go, but I do think that the podium will not look too dissimilar from the starting order of the race, I think. So, I'm really looking forward to see how this goes. But yeah, I've got to be honest, guys, really looking forward to this race. It's going to be 50 laps long, and it's averaging around a minute and a half lap time, so this race should roughly take 75-ish minutes, provided there is no safety cars. Considering this track is Saudi Arabia, safety cars are abound, because this is one of the tightest, narrowest street circuits of the whole calendar, so a safety car is almost a given, so expect that 75-minute race time to be bumped up by quite a few minutes, especially even more if there's a red flag. Now, of course, the red flag is the race has stopped. So, if there is a red flag, that will be bumped up again. But it is very unlikely that it will happen, but you never know. But I think a safety car is probably a given how many we've had in previous races here. Granted, we're only on our 3rd race in Saudi Arabia, but still, 2 out of 3 have produced a safety car, so there is potential that there will be another one today. A lot of other commentators are saying, yeah, there is almost definitely going to be a safety car, so it is a matter of when that's going to happen. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long to solve when it does, and I'm saying when because it is probably inevitable, but hopefully it's nothing too bad when it does. But yeah, 50 laps of this track, so slightly less than Bahrain 2 weeks ago, by 7, so this race should be over probably fairly quickly again, not accounting for red flags. But But yeah, I've got to say, this grid today has a very interesting order, given how Charles Leclerc's been dropped down by 10 and Max Verstappen was only able to get to 15th. Now, that could create for some interesting opportunities for Sergio Perez and Fernando Alonso to win the race. I do think it is going to be one of those two drivers to win. I'm personally leaning a little bit towards Fernando, but I do think Sergio has one hell of a fighting chance. But of course, somebody could just jump out of the midfield and surprise us all. You never know. We could have an Esteban Ocon on the podium, or a Pierre Gasly, or Nick De Vries. Could be anybody. But I think it could be a Fernando Alonso win. But we will just have to wait and see. And right now it is 20 minutes to lights out. So, anyone here, if you have any predictions for the race, please let me know, because who do you think's going to be... do you think anyone's going to DNF? If so, who? And how many people are going to DNF in your opinions? Like, who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to take the other places on the podium? And who do you think's going to score points today? Which teams and which drivers? Because I think, I don't know why, but I think Alex Albon could get his second points of the season. Maybe it won't be more than... Maybe he might finish in 10th, so that would only get him 1 point, but still, I do think he is on for another set of points today. I've got a good feeling about Albon on this. But yeah, I've got to be honest, guys. I'm really looking forward to this race, because we know how wild Bahrain was. Like, that was absolutely insane. So I do think that this race could be quite interesting, given how different of a track it is, because Bahrain is quite wide and curvy, whereas this track is very tight and very twisty and turny. There's not many good straights on this track. So, for anyone like Mercedes, who seems to have picked back up their straight line speed this year, they might struggle at this track, but you never know. Wait and see. Yeah, so I'm not sure who's going to benefit most from this track. Probably, of course, Red Bull and Aston Martin, as in qualifying and practice, they were both absolute rocket ships along the track. Like, again, if it wasn't for Max Verstappen's engine failure, I do think he could have been on for pole position today. But alas, that's not what the universe had planned. So, yeah, Max Verstappen is all the way down in 15th. Will he fight his way back to the front? Possibly. You never know. Depends on how much of a fight everyone else in front of him puts up, because that's something that you have to consider as well. Yeah, Max Verstappen is damn good, but how good is everyone else in front of him? But we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. Yeah, now we're about quarter of an hour away from lights out, so I'm probably going to start the coverage in a few minutes, because around about now the national anthem will be taking place, and then the drivers will be getting ready to go into their cars. Any last minute fixes that need doing will be started, such as, aerodynamic changes to the front wing. They'll be fitting the tyres onto the cars, and then they'll get ready for the formation lap, and then it'll be lights out. Which is very exciting because, let's face it, we all love this bit. The build up to the race, then the formation lap, and then boosh, off we go. Now, there is something I want to talk about this week. I'm hoping Esteban Ocon's luck changes, because as we know, last time out in Bahrain, poor old Esteban Ocon had more penalties than you could probably shake a stick at. So I'm hoping and praying for his sake that his little run of penalties comes to an end in this race, because it was just really sad to see every couple of laps. Penalty, Esteban Ocon. Penalty, Esteban Ocon. I thought, oh no. In the end, he straight up gave up. He just came into the pits and said, nope, I'm done. Bye. So, and I can't really blame him. He was getting that many penalties. He was probably going to finish last anyway. So, yeah, I think it was probably best for him to just retire from the race and basically give up, which isn't something an F1 driver usually says, but sometimes you do have to admit defeats. But there is something else I want to talk about as well. If you're in the UK and a Sky customer, you will have recently seen the Didier Pironi versus Jacques Villeneuve documentary, and no, sorry, Gilles Villeneuve. For those of you who don't know, Gilles Villeneuve and Didier Pironi were two Ferrari drivers back in, I think, the 70s, who were very much fighting it out for a title, and things got bad between them. They started off like really good friends, and then by the end of it, they absolutely despised each other. Like, I think a very similar comparison I have would be Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. They were really good friends as children, but when they got to Mercedes and the boiling point of the 2016 championship, things really broke down between those two. So I think that's probably the best comparison I could give in terms of their relationship. And I haven't seen the documentary yet, but I have heard it's really good. It was on after qualifying, but unfortunately, I forgot and missed it, which really hurt, but oh well. I'm sure it'll be on again, but I really want to know if it is worth watching, so I am probably going to give it a watch at some point and let you guys know what I think of it, because I have heard it's pretty decent. Of course, I made that mistake a minute ago of calling Gilles Villeneuve Jacques, because yes, Gilles Villeneuve is Jacques Villeneuve's father. Of course, Jacques Villeneuve went on to become the 1997 world champion for Williams. Williams' most recent world champion, by the way, even though it was 25 years ago. And of course, he is now racing in NASCAR. He did do last year's Daytona 500, as well as Euro NASCAR before that. So his team from Euro NASCAR joined the Cup Series last year, and they debuted in the Daytona 500 with Jacques driving the car. Unfortunately, he didn't finish the race. I believe he crashed in stage 1 of the race, so that was quite unfortunate for him. But from what I've heard, he has had a fairly successful career since leaving F1 in 2000, and I think it was 2006. So just before his old championship rival in 1997, Michael Schumacher. Because, of course, that one was very much a Williams versus Ferrari championship, much like the year before, with Damon Hill and Michael Schumacher. Yeah, in the 90s, Michael Schumacher fought for a lot of championships, especially with Ferrari. Didn't get one until 2000, though. But still, he got them. But yeah, I've got to say, this documentary does have my interest piqued very heavily, so I'm definitely going to give it a watch when the time comes for me to watch it, because I don't know when it's on next, but I'll find out soon. Anyway, I think it's time to get ready for the race. Let's do this. Oh, that's not good. I know what's happened. Bear with me a moment, guys. I know exactly what's happened here. I've got NordVPN switched on, so I can't watch it at the moment, but, bear with me a moment. Disconnect. Okay, that should now... Okay, just a bit of a technical glitch there. Yep, 12.5 minutes till lights out. Yep, now they're all on the grid talking about what they think's going to happen during the race. And of course I'm referring to Simon Lazenby, Damon Hill, and Nico Rosberg. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure who's going to win this week, guys. It's going to be fairly interesting. I do think Fernando Alonso has a very good shot, because Sergio Perez is a very strong driver, but Fernando Alonso is enough to intimidate anyone. But we'll just have to wait and see here how this is going to go, because this race, I do think, could be basically anybody's. Yeah, I do think this could be literally anybody's race, guys. It's... with Max Verstappen being so far down, because let's face it, Max, if he hadn't had his engine failure, you could almost guarantee he was going to win. But with him having that, of course, failure in qualifying, that has knocked him quite far down the grid. Has it knocked him out of win contention? Maybe not, maybe. But at the moment, he isn't in the running, but you never know. By race's end, he could mince the field and get back up to the top. But I do think this could be anybody's race. Fernando Alonso, George Russell, and Sergio Perez are obviously my top 3 picks for the winner. But again, anybody could come through and just steal the win out of absolutely nowhere. So we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. Carlos Sainz is getting his helmet on, ready to jump into the car. Yeah, it's looking to be a good race, guys, I think. Of course, this track has been modified every time we've come here. The 2021, 22, and 23 layouts are all ever so slightly different from each other due to the track being refined, because the first iteration of the track was pretty dangerous. It wasn't... It was really quite... It was a bit too tight. Last year's iteration was much better. A lot wider in some sections, but still not perfect. So hopefully they've got it right this time, and this race will be fairly safety car and yellow/red flag free. But we will have to wait and see, because, well, this is F1. Anything could happen. Who knows? And George Russell appears to have changed his helmet again back to the blue. Because I don't know if you remember, but in Bahrain last time out, he had this bright highlighter green helmet, which I wasn't particularly a fan of. And by the looks of it, he wasn't either. So he switched back to blue, which I do prefer that design, but I do also really, really like his black and red design he had at the start of last season. So I really hope he brings that back at some point. Unlikely, but I would really like to see that back. But yeah, we've got only a few minutes now till lights out, guys. So, as I said earlier, if you've got any predictions for the race, please let me know in the comments, because, well, or in the chat, because I do think this is going to be a good one. Well, as I said earlier, Bahrain was absolutely insane, so this race could be just as good, if not better. Of course, we're out in Australia next time, which is going to be quite an early race, so be prepared for a very early stream, guys. Yeah, that's going to be fun. But that's in 2 weeks, as I said, and then we've got pretty much all of April off until the final weekend when we return to Baku, and then there's quite a large chunk of races until the summer break, at which point we'll have 3 weeks off. So yeah, incidentally, the gap between Australia and Baku is going to be bigger than the actual official summer break, because of course we know China was supposed to slot in between the two, but unfortunately they had to drop out due to their COVID restrictions. They have since lifted them, but unfortunately there wasn't enough time to reset the Grand Prix, so they're going to have to skip out this year. Hopefully China will return next year, because it is a really good track in China, so hopefully next season they will return and finally get us that 24 race season that F1 did advertise for quite a while, and then of course at the last minute China had to drop out, dropping us down to 23, which is still record breaking, but it wasn't quite the record breaker that F1 and the FIA wanted. But you never know, next year could be the year. 2024, 24 races, I do think it'd be quite appropriate. So yeah, only a few minutes now to the race, guys. Very excited, as you can tell. If it's anything like last week, we're in for a good one. Like, no, not last week, the last race. The last race was absolutely brilliant, as you guys know. That battle between Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton is definitely going to be a highlight of the season for me. I know it was only the first race, but it was definitely really good to see, because of course, as I mentioned in that race, Fernando was Lewis's first teammate in Formula 1. So to see those two battling again was really cool, in my opinion. I just can't wait to see what sort of action this race gives us, because anything could happen this time. Like, we could see a Ferrari get in there, because I do think Carlos Sainz has some potential to get on the podium. Maybe the win? Who knows? As I've been saying, this race could be quite literally anyone's, because Verstappen being thrown down has really thrown the rhythm of this race off. Like, if Verstappen was where he should have finished, I'd be quite comfortable in saying that this is going to be a Verstappen win. But now he's out of the mix, at the moment at least, he may jump back in. I'm just going to quickly check how long we have to the race. 5 minutes to lights out. Oh, well, here we go. We're just seeing a little feature about Max and Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton from the previous races here. Like, oh, I'm just seeing that massive crash from the 2021 race. That's what I'm meaning about this track being quite dangerous in its initial iteration. But thankfully they have modified it last year and again this year. So hopefully this time out it will be a lot more safe and a lot more drivable, because there has been historically quite a few blind spots on this track. And in F1, that is not what you need. You really need to see as much as you physically can. So hopefully they fix it. And here we have the F1 intro. Again, definitely my favourite iteration of the modern era of F1 intros. Like, since this orchestral theme came in, this is definitely my favourite version of the titles that we've had. Aside from maybe 2020, and the special one they did for the final race of 2021, you know, with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton being on equal points in the final round. I think this is definitely my favourite aside from maybe those two, because of course the 2021 was also celebrating F1's 70th anniversary. And it's the 75th anniversary in only 2 years' time, so what are they going to do for that? Now we have the track rundown and the grid. Yep, round 2 of the F1 2023 season in Saudi Arabia. Let's see who we've got and where. 3.83 miles of a circuit, 50 laps, and the second round in the Middle East. Second of 4, so there's 2 more races to go in the Middle East before the season's over. 6.174 kilometers, by the way, and the lap record holder is Lewis Hamilton with a 1 minute 30. 27 turns and 2.48 meters of elevation. And here we have some views from the first 2 turns and some action from the 2021 race. Yeah, this race has definitely created some drama in its last 2 iterations. This is a really good race, I've got to be honest. The track could be a bit better in some parts, but hopefully this year they have fixed those parts. Because I'm not quite sure what they've done to it this year, but I know they have done some work to the track again. Okay, we have the tyre compounds, which will be the C4 is the softest, the C3 is the medium, and the C2 is the hard compound. So we're working with nearly the middle of the tyre range this weekend. With the C0, there is now no middle, really. And here is the grid. 20th is Logan Sargent with Lando Norris in 19th. We have Nick De Vries in 18th and Alexander Albon in 17th. So he's got some fighting to do if he has to get points. Yuki Tsunoda is in 16th and Max Verstappen surprisingly down in 15th after a drive shaft failure. Valtteri Bottas is in 14th and Kev Magnussen's in 13th. We have Charles Leclerc with his 10th-place grid penalty in 12th and Zhou Guanyu in 11th. We have Nico Hülkenberg in 10th place and Pierre Gasly up in 9th. And then we have Oscar Piastri in 8th and Lewis Hamilton in 7th place. And then third row is Esteban Ocon in 6th and Lance Stroll in 5th. So only a couple of places behind his teammate. Carlos Sainz is in 4th and George Russell in 3rd. So that makes up the second row. And the front row is Fernando Alonso P2 and Sergio Perez in pole position in P1. What a grid we have here, guys. This could be incredibly interesting. I'm really curious to see how this one goes. Again, Max not being where he really should be is going to create some interesting situations in this race. I don't know how this is going to go, guys. Like, Max not being towards the front has really thrown off my expectations for this race. I don't know what to expect now. Fernando, I do think could fight for the win, as well as Perez, but again, don't count out George Russell or Carlos Sainz. Or hell, if Max Verstappen's able to come back up the order, he may be in the fight for the win. And I would love to point out that this potentially could be Fernando Alonso's 100th podium in F1. So, of course, last race in Bahrain was his 99th. So, this could be his 100th potentially. And the tyre blankets are starting to come off. Ready for the formation lap, no doubt. Well, it is the formation lap, let's be honest. What else are they going to be doing? And I believe they're about to go off for the formation lap. Any second now. Oh, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we have the formation lap. That was a very handy countdown. Yep, off goes Sergio Perez. Warming up his tyres. Fernando Alonso is not doing much manoeuvring, so his tyres... Well, he must know what he's doing with his tyres, because if you remember that one clip of everyone warming up their tyres on a safety car lap, and then Kimi Räikkönen is just going straight as a ruler throughout. Like, nah, I don't need to weave around, I can just go straight in that warm-up. Ultimately, he was right. So I think Fernando Alonso has taken on the same philosophy as Kimi Räikkönen did back in that race. I don't remember where that was, but that was something he did. And that, of course, being Kimi, became quite a meme. Oh, this is going to be a really good one, guys. I can feel it. I can just feel it in my bones. Now, we have the top 6 on mediums. Lewis Hamilton is on hard tyres. The rest of the top 10 is on mediums. Oh no, the top 11, sorry. Charles Leclerc's on softs, and then everyone else is on mediums except Lando Norris on the softs and Logan Sargent on the hards. So, the strategies are mediums 22 laps, hards 28, and I couldn't see the other strategy. So there's 2 strategies for this race, unless somebody goes completely insane, like a couple of drivers did last week, and does something completely different. Have to wait and see. The fastest pit stop from so far this year is Ferrari with 2.22 seconds. Of course, that's the only fastest one we've had so far. Probably change again today, but you never know. They may hold that record for a little while yet. Yeah, I'm looking at Sergio Perez's on board now. His steering wheel is moving around a lot. And that's probably to warm up his tyres. Of course, the previous winners here have been Lewis Hamilton in 2021, his most recent race win, even today, and Max Verstappen was, of course, the winner here in 2022. So, here, I think they're starting to come to the end of the formation lap now. We're just looking at Toto Wolff in the Mercedes garage, as well as Mercedes reserve driver Mick Schumacher. So yeah, really interesting race coming up, I think, guys. I've got a good feeling about this one. Charles Leclerc, just got an onboard of Charles Leclerc now. Oh, and then we have the Aston Martin team principal, Mike Crack. And here comes Fernando Alonso along the pit straight to line up in second for the actual race start. Oh, here we go, guys. Any minute now. Can't wait. Honestly, if the last race is anything to go by, this one is going to be absolutely spectacular. Sorry guys, just have to do some nasal sprays to keep my nose clear. I have some trouble with blocked noses throughout the year, but 2 spritz of that and I should be all good. Okay. Okay, the cars are filtering in slowly. Should be another moment or 2 before the last couple of cars line up. There's, I think, Nick de Vries lining up, so shouldn't be too long until we get underway. Okay. Ooh, there's a bit of smoke coming off one of the cars. That could be a problem. Might not be, but it could be. We'll see. The Aston Martin medical car is lining up at the back. And there's the green flag. 4 lights, 5 lights. And off we go for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Sergio Perez gets a good start, but so does Fernando Alonso. And into turn one, Fernando Alonso takes first place. Wow, that was fast! Whoa! Okay. That was very quick from the Spaniard. Wow, that was amazing. But Fernando just switched into first. Like, he didn't even let Sergio Perez get a chance. Wow, that was one hell of a start from Fernando Alonso. Someone's lost a bit of bodywork, it seems, as well on the start. Hopefully, it's nothing too major, and hopefully it doesn't cause any yellow flags. And Fernando Alonso is pulling away. Wow! That wasn't... Oh, and Lance Stroll has passed Carlos Sainz, so he's up into fourth. Whoa! What? And... Oh. And Fernando Alonso is being investigated for an incorrect starting position. Uh-oh. Have to wait and see. But, wow. Oh, and it's Oscar Piastri who has the damage. Oh. Well. Okay, that's not good for Oscar Piastri. Yeah. Oof. That was one hell of a getaway from Fernando Alonso. And Sergio Perez, in fairness, but Fernando Alonso... Oh. And Oscar Piastri has just completely ripped past Zhou Guanyu in the Alfa Romeo. Oh, no, and we are on to lap 2, which means at the end of this lap, DRS will be activated. Oh, what a start that was. That was mad. And Oscar Piastri is in the pits. He's getting a front wing replacement. That's probably what his damage was. Yep. Oh. Okay. Okay, that was quite a long pit stop there. 13.2 seconds. Eesh. Okay. Fernando Alonso is still under investigation for his starting location. Hopefully nothing comes of that, although if it needs to happen, it needs to happen. Oh, and he has a penalty. Yep. And he has a 5-second time penalty. So I'm guessing he's probably going to serve that in the pits, which will drop him currently quite far back. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Well, but that, yeah. That was a really good getaway from the Red Bull of Sergio Perez and the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso, though. That was incredible. Max Verstappen is up into 13th already, so he's already blitzed past Valtteri Bottas and Yuki Tsunoda, so that's very, very brilliant for him. Yeah, wow. And now DRS is going to be activated as they're all going on to the third lap of the race. So any moment now, we will get lap 3. Well, no, this is lap 3, but any moment now, the first DRS zones will be activated. Yep, DRS is enabled. So any moment now, Fernando Alonso could come under DRS threats from Sergio Perez. Yep. Okay. And that is Fernando Alonso's team radio saying that, you've got a 5-second penalty. We'll serve it in your first pit stop. And Fernando Alonso just said, okay, copy. Cool as a cucumber. Because let's face it, Fernando Alonso has been doing this for a very long time. But that's twice now that there's been a grid start infringement. Of course, last time out was Esteban Ocon, with him being too far to the right in his pit box. In his grid box, I should say. And Fernando Alonso, I don't quite know how he was not in position. I don't know if he was too far forward, too far left, too far right. I don't know. So we are just going to have to wait and see on that one. But whoa. But I think he is going to serve it in his next pit stop. And here comes Sergio Perez to retake the lead. But he has a bit of a lockup, so Fernando Alonso is still right up the back of him. And it looks as if Fernando is about to come back and try again. We'll have to wait and see, but I think Fernando Alonso is probably going to try and get first place back very soon. Wow, that was a really smooth move from Sergio Perez. Right. Okay, Fernando was too far left. Right. Oh, he's way too far to the left. Wow. Okay. Huh. I'm not even sure what advantage that would give him. But at the end of the day, that is, the FIA has decided to give him a 5-second penalty, which he will serve in his first pit stop, no doubt. Because adding it on to his final race time would be probably an absolute disaster for him. Okay, so let's see what happens to Oscar Piastri here. Okay, nothing so far. He hit the side of an Alpine. I'm not sure whose Alpine it would have been. It might have been Pierre Gasly. In fact, I think it would have been Pierre Gasly. Well, there's another Alpine in front of him, so I think, if I remember rightly, it was Pierre Gasly behind Esteban Ocon. So, yes, it would have been Pierre Gasly. Charles Leclerc appears to be in 9th place now. At the moment, guys, we're getting a bunch of replays, so I don't know what's happening on track presently. So, yeah, you'll have to bear with me while all these replays are happening. Hopefully nothing too major happens. Okay, and we are back live on the race. Fernando Alonso, on lap 5, still hasn't attempted to take back first place. Won't be long, I think, but he's probably going to try it soon, but he hasn't tried it yet. And both McLarens are now 19th and 20th, so McLaren are bringing up the rear of the whole grid. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, but that was just a really good start, you know. That was great. Okay, nothing seems to be happening at the moment. Like, I will say at this point in this race, the first few laps, it does tend to slow down a bit. It really starts to ramp back up again, coming close to the first round of pit stops, which isn't for a little while yet, I'll admit. But you never know, some action may crop up fairly soon, because... Oh, and we have Fernando Alonso, I think, getting ready to retake first place. He hasn't quite tried it yet, but I think Fernando is probably going to try it again very, very soon. He is currently 0.6 seconds behind Perez, so he is well within DRS range, and almost within very effective DRS range, because within a second, DRS helps you to get closer for an overtake. Within half a second, it helps you complete the overtake, so he is almost within effective range of the DRS. And Max Verstappen, we're getting a replay from him. Ooh, very nearly hit a wall then. He had to make very quick evasive maneuvers, which he is very good at. Yep. And as David Croft rightly points out, Fernando Alonso is very much trying to keep within DRS range of Sergio Perez, which he is doing a spectacular job of, I must say. He hasn't slipped below a second, well, above a second, since he just got overtaken, so he is keeping well within DRS range now. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to make a move in the next couple of laps. Just seeing the helmet camera from, I think, this is Charles Leclerc. I really love this for you guys, seeing the helmet cam. We're basically seeing what the drivers are seeing, which is just really, really cool. And, oh, Fernando Alonso's got DRS open, but he's closed it again as he's coming into a corner. Okay. Everything seems to have stabilised for a bit. Oh, and there goes Charles Leclerc getting past Pierre Gasly. Okay. Yep, he has completely blitzed Pierre Gasly. So that is Charles Leclerc up into 8th. And next up for him is Lewis Hamilton, which could be quite an interesting fight, I think. I think that could be quite fun to see. So Charles Leclerc is very much getting past his 10th-place grid penalty and making his way up the grid pretty quick, really. Yep, Pierre Gasly just couldn't hold a position. That was quite a quick overtake from Charles Leclerc. And Sergio Perez has the fastest lap so far. Charles Leclerc is now gunning it for Lewis Hamilton. He is a second behind him, so any moment now he'll be within DRS range. Yep, if he comes across the DRS zone now, he'll be able to activate it on Lewis Hamilton. And there's a rear view of Lewis Hamilton, so we can see Charles Leclerc pretty close to him. Ooh, he's getting very close there, has a little bit of a look, decides not to take it, because that would be quite a dive bomb. Okay. And that's DRS for Charles Leclerc on Lewis Hamilton. Oh, and there comes Max Verstappen past Zhou Guanyu. So that's Max Verstappen up into 10th and in the points. So that's Charles Leclerc. That's Max Verstappen into the top 10. Oh, and we have an incident being investigated for Lewis Hamilton with weaving on the straight. Okay. That's interesting. And Charles Leclerc, I think, is getting ready for an overtake on Lewis Hamilton. Yep. Okay. Lewis Hamilton is under investigation for that. That's going to be interesting. Okay, Fernando Alonso, Team Radio. Okay. Aston Martin confirming that Aston Martin are going for Plan A with Fernando Alonso, so that's whatever the first plan for the pit stops is, with no add-ons, so Plan A to the lesser, so it isn't going to be a Plan A plus 5 laps plus 3, it's straight up Plan A for whatever that is. So that's Fernando Alonso knowing where he is in terms of his pit stop strategy. Okay. And here comes Charles Leclerc on Lewis Hamilton, and he straight up overtakes him. Is Lewis Hamilton going to try and come back for that? And Lewis Hamilton has a black and white flag for weaving on the straight. And next he will get, I believe it's a 5-second penalty if he does it again. But for now, it's a black and white flag. I haven't seen any evidence of that. Like, I haven't actually seen where that penalty has come from. I didn't see the weaving itself, so have to wait and see for that. Okay, and Sergio Perez still has the fastest lap. And it looks as if he is starting to come under attack from Carlos Sainz. And Lewis Hamilton is beginning to complain about his tyres and them not having much grip, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does come into the pits soon for an early change onto another set. Because he is on the hards at the moment, and they don't seem to be doing very well. In fact, the bottom 4 drivers are all on hards, and the only one who isn't in the bottom 4 of the hard runners is Lewis Hamilton. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lewis Hamilton comes in for a pit stop soon. Oh, and that is Max Verstappen overtaking Pierre Gasly for 9th, which means we have Hamilton Verstappen. We have Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton coming up. Oh boy. This is where it gets good, guys. This is where it gets good. Okay, that's interesting. And that is Lewis Hamilton in 8th and Max Verstappen in 9th. So Verstappen will be chasing down Hamilton. Okay. Okay. It seems that Sergio Perez has got a chokehold on the lead here. So Fernando must be biding his time until he takes that penalty in the pits. Then he's probably gonna go in for an attack. And there is Max Verstappen closing in on Lewis Hamilton. Still got about a second gap between them, so nothing yet, but I doubt it'll be long before Max Verstappen is on Lewis Hamilton and a battle inevitably ensues. So we're definitely going to have to monitor this one. Because let's face it, Hamilton versus Verstappen is always an amazing fight to watch. So we're going to have to see how this one goes, guys. And Sergio Perez has pulled another fastest lap. He is getting very quick. Okay. Another radio from Fernando Alonso. Okay. Aston Martin have said they're looking to go a bit longer on the mediums, as the hards are not looking good at the moment, as confirmed by the bottom four runners and Lewis Hamilton. So it looks as if they're going to try to extend the stint they have on the mediums for as long as they can, so they can potentially go on to softs for the end of the race. That is going to be quite a stint on the mediums, and then again on the softs. So it's going to be quite a risky race for Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso if they confirm that is the strategy they're going with. Oof. This could be quite challenging for Fernando Alonso, but we know that Fernando Alonso is probably going to be up to the challenge quite comfortably. Okay, so here we are on lap 11. 39 to go. So, 40 to go, sorry, because lap 50 counts as well. Oh, and Max Verstappen is closing up to Lewis Hamilton. Okay. And Sergio Perez has just been told that he needs to keep an eye on his front right tyre due to that lockup while overtaking Fernando Alonso earlier. And here comes Max Verstappen on Lewis Hamilton, and Hamilton defends it so far. He's defended the overtake attempt. And now Max Verstappen has DRS on Lewis Hamilton. Will Lewis Hamilton defend it? No, he won't. So Max Verstappen is now up into 8th. Next up, he has his championship rival from last year, Charles Leclerc. So Max Verstappen could be back in contention for the race win pretty soon. How long will that take? Who knows? But he may be on for the race win, potentially. You can never count this man out. He may be at the back of the grid, but give him long enough, he'll be back up at the top in quite short order. Same here. He is an incredibly quick driver. So the fact that he's made it to 8th already is very little surprise. All the way from 15th, so he's made up nearly half of the positions he needs. Well, actually, exactly half the positions he needs to get to first. So, and we're only on lap 12, so he could be on for the race win. Who knows? Okay, Fernando Alonso seems to be slipping back a bit from Sergio Perez. Probably prepping for his pit stops. And the pit window for the soft tyre is open, and it's going to last 7 laps. So if you want to pit for softs, now is the time. Or any time between now and lap 20. Will any drivers take it this early? We'll see. And there goes Charles Leclerc, absolutely blitzing Esteban Ocon. So next up for Max Verstappen now is going to be Esteban Ocon, then Charles Leclerc, provided Charles Leclerc doesn't overtake his teammate Carlos Sainz. And it seems that Ferrari are getting ready for a pit stop. Could that be for Carlos? Could that be for Charles? Who knows? But no doubt we'll find out fairly soon. Okay. Carlos Sainz and Lance Stroll is happening. Beginning. Okay, Fernando Alonso's just confirmed that his tyres are really good and they can keep going. But as I was trying to say, Carlos Sainz is starting to get up the back end of Lance Stroll again. So this could be another battle to start watching. And one to keep an eye on for a little bit, maybe, because Carlos Sainz might take him. Oh, and never mind, because Carlos Sainz is going into the pits for his first pit stop. And this will be the first scheduled pit stop of the race, because, again, Oscar Piastri's was because of damage. But this is the first scheduled one of the whole race. So this will knock Charles Leclerc up into 5th. And whoever... Okay. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, and Carlos Sainz has gone into... Oh, Lance Stroll's gone into the pits. Okay. That was unexpected. Oh, I wonder... I think Ferrari may have faked them out. Okay. Yeah. I think... Yeah. I think Ferrari bluffed. And it worked. Wow, so that's given Carlos Sainz a free place. Okay. So that means that Lance Stroll is now down in 11th. Carlos Sainz is up into 4th, behind George Russell. Wow! That was some master strategy from Ferrari there. Fair play to them. That was quite well played. Gutted for Lance Stroll, but for Ferrari, that was really well played. But no doubt Carlos Sainz is going to have to come in at some point soon. But we'll have to wait and see. Wow, that was actually really unexpected. Like, Ferrari don't pull bluffs like that very often, so to see it happen that easily was quite surprising. Sorry about that, guys. A little bit of shaky camera. Wow, okay. Ferrari played it clever there. Impressive. Okay, Verstappen now is in 6th, behind Charles Leclerc, so I don't think that's going to remain the case for long, because Max Verstappen does seem quite close to Leclerc now, so don't be surprised if in the next lap or two he overtakes him. And here comes an Alpine into the pits, and it's Pierre Gasly for his first pit stop of the race. Okay, that was quite a quick one for him, and that was... Okay, it's not going to show us the times. Typical. It was a quick one. But yeah, it looks as if Max Verstappen is up the back end of Charles Leclerc and is probably going to attempt an overtake somewhat soon. Okay, the time's on up at the moment, so I don't know what the gap is between Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, but it probably isn't much. But we'll have to wait and see for a moment. Of course, Fernando Alonso is still in 2nd, and it's 1.5 seconds from Charles Leclerc to Max Verstappen, so it'll take Max Verstappen a couple of laps, probably, to get up to DRS range. Well, we'll wait and see. But I think in the next few laps, Max will probably attempt an overtake on Charles Leclerc. Will he succeed? Possibly. But, oh, okay, Carlos Sainz has been told to box again. Is this going to be a bluff, or is this going to be legit? We'll see. I'm going to assume it's legit this time. Yes, it is. Carlos Sainz is coming in this time. Okay, let's see what his pit stop is. That was very clean and very quick. 2.7 seconds. Not bad at all, Ferrari. Not bad at all. Okay. And this puts Carlos Sainz down into 9th, right in front of Lance Stroll. Here comes some revenge. I'm guessing anyway. That was some really good pit stop trickery from Ferrari there. I can't lie, that was really impressive to see that. And here comes Max Verstappen again, probably getting ready for an overtake attempt on Charles Leclerc, as he's only within half a second now, so I wouldn't be surprised if in the next lap or so, Max Verstappen does at least try to overtake Leclerc. I can't say it'll work. It might not. Okay, he's getting very close to Leclerc now, so I'm going to guess he will try it on the pit straight, which I think is coming up any moment now. So we could see Max Verstappen. Oh, he's even going to try. I think he's going to try it. Nope. Oh, no, not yet. He has a look. He has a look on the inside. Okay. And Leclerc has been told to box. So that is Max Verstappen automatically up into fourth, which means he now has George Russell to contend with for third. So Max Verstappen could any moment now be into third place, and that is Lewis Hamilton up into fifth as a result of Charles Leclerc's pit stop. And here comes Esteban Ocon. Charles Leclerc's was a 2.1 second, and Esteban Ocon's was 2.9. So pretty decent pit stops for the Ferrari and the Alpine there. And that's actually Ferrari breaking their own pit stop record. Good job, guys. Okay. Well, that was interesting. This is quite an interesting pit window so far. Okay. So Max Verstappen's now in fourth and primed for a podium, I think. He isn't there yet, obviously, but he may get onto the podium positions soon. Okay. Oh, and we have a yellow flag in Sector 2. And it's a double yellow. And it's an Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll is out of the race. Oh. Okay. Okay. That is our first retirement of the race. And it is none other than Mr. P6 from the last race, Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. Okay. And it's a full core safety car. Okay. This race just went from 0 to 100 real quick. And there's some fire extinguishers. What the hell? What happened? Okay. It was Lance Stroll who was smoking, who had a bit of a smoke coming off his car on the grid. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Ooh, wow. That's just made this race really interesting, and unsurprisingly, half of the grid's coming in for a free pit stop. Oh, wow, that really surprised me, that. Wow, okay. Okay, George Russell's being told to pit from third, which will knock Verstappen up into third. Okay. Okay. That's just made things very treacherous for Aston Martin. And here comes Sergio Perez into the pits as well. Will Fernando Alonso follow suit? We'll see. Oh, wow, that was really unexpected. Oof. Okay. Right. And here comes Max Verstappen for a pit stop as well. And Fernando Alonso. Okay, so the top four are all pitting. Okay. And this is probably a very good time for Fernando Alonso to serve his 5-second penalty, which he is. Yep. Okay, so that's the risk of the 5-second time penalty mitigated. Okay, that was a 2.6-second stop for George Russell. Okay. Oh boy, that got interesting. Lewis Hamilton's in the pits as well, so the top 5 will stay the same, it seems. Oh, wow. Well, that's thrown this race into a bit of chaos. Okay. And that was a 3.1 second stop for Lewis Hamilton, so quite a slow stop in Mercedes standards, really. And of course, as mentioned, here's that safety car that I mentioned. Well, and Sergio Perez has maintained the lead with the safety car. Oh, okay, so I wonder what happened to Lance Stroll. Like, I hope we get a replay of that so I can see what happened to him, because that was quite an unexpected stop, really. Okay, here we are. What happened? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, the safety car seems a bit unnecessary, because he managed to pull into the exit road, so... Okay. I wonder... Okay, so, even though we've seen the replay, his reason for stopping is still unclear. The Sky commentators are suspecting it was a brake overheating issue, which, yeah, the smoke on the grid would definitely explain that. But, that was interesting and quite concerning for Aston Martin, obviously. So that's no double points for Aston Martin today. Of course, Fernando Alonso could still get points on his own, but not as many as he could have gotten with Lance Stroll with him. Ooh, that's just made this race very interesting indeed. Okay. Oof. That was, yeah, that was unexpected, guys, I can't lie. Okay. That, oof. Okay. Here we have the 19 remaining drivers, keeping their tyres warm on the track. No doubt some overtakes will happen now, because all the cars are bunched up behind the safety car, so that can make things quite interesting. And here comes a McLaren for a very late pit stop, I must say. And it is Lando Norris in 18th. Okay. Quite an interesting delayed pit stop from him. Like, I was expecting all the drivers to come in quite close into the safety car, but now the safety car will be ending at the end of this lap, so Lando Norris has to very quickly catch the safety car queue, or he is going to be very much left behind. Okay, and Lando Norris is now in last place in 19th again, only separated from his teammate by the two Alfa Romeos. Okay. And this safety car will be ending now at the end of lap 20. So we'll have 29 laps left of this race. Well, no, 30. 30 laps left of the race. Okay. Okay. Charles Leclerc has just been told to push after the safety car, but it would appear that he has only just been told that a moment ago, so the message has been repeated for no reason. So he isn't particularly happy with that. Okay, and here comes the end of the safety car. Any moment now, and then we'll be racing once again for the second half of the race. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if that safety car was particularly needed, but it is what the FIA decided, so that's what's happened. Okay. It looks as if they are on the pit straight, ready to go, and the safety car is in, so in essence, until the starting grid, Sergio Perez is the safety car, but not for long. And here we go. Okay, here we are. Whoa! And that is Okay, nothing has happened yet. George Russell is right up the back end of Fernando Alonso. And there's the Alpines fighting it out, much like last year. Wow. Okay, that was an interesting start. Not too much happened, but it got pretty close to a few overtakes there. But they're all bunched up at the moment, so there could be a couple coming through. There could be a couple of overtakes at any given moment. Yeah, that was quite interesting. Like, I'm not sure if that safety car was needed, really, because Lance Stroll did park it in a very sensible place. Again, still don't know why he had to pull over. Right. Okay. Okay. And Max Verstappen is only 0.3 seconds behind George Russell, so any moment now, Max Verstappen could be in the podium positions. Have to wait and see. Okay. Right, Max Verstappen is incredibly close to George Russell, but not quite close enough yet. However, I wouldn't give it long before he is. Oh, and Sergio Perez is pulling away. Wow. Okay. Oh, wow, that was incredible. Hamilton has overtaken both Ferraris. So this could be another Hamilton versus Verstappen battle, except Hamilton's doing the chasing this time. Oh, wow, that has really surprised me. Okay. So, Russell has to defend Verstappen, but Verstappen also has to defend from Hamilton. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see this double overtake from Lewis Hamilton then. Oh, wait, not a double overtake, but that was quite a smooth overtake from Lewis Hamilton, in my opinion. Didn't quite have it into turn 1, but turn 2, he did get the job done, because Carlos did run quite wide into turn 2. Okay. Max Verstappen is only half a second now behind George Russell, so he may make the attempt on the overtake very soon. Like, maybe as soon as the next DRS zone, he might give it a go. George Russell does, of course, have the right to defend it, and probably will. Okay. And I think any minute now, that overtake attempt is going to come. Does Max have DRS open? No, he doesn't. Does he now? Okay, and here comes Max Verstappen for an attempt, but it doesn't work into turn 1. Will it work into turn 2? No, it won't. Okay, so Max Verstappen will stay in 4th for a little bit longer. And that might give Lewis Hamilton some time to catch up as well. Oh, that was surprising. I thought Max was really going to give it a good go there. Okay. Right. The word from the FIA on safety car is, the safety car came out because Stroll's car showed that it was on the track on the GPS. So it may have been a GPS issue. And Fernando Alonso is still really liking his tyres currently, so he's probably going to stick on them for as long as he can. And now the hard tyres are starting to come alive a bit in this second stint. And DRS is once again enabled. That's why Max didn't have DRS on his previous overtake attempt. Okay. Right, let's see if George Russell's able to defend against Max Verstappen now with DRS being enabled. And he has got DRS open, and through goes Max Verstappen into 3rd place with the fastest lap so far. Wow, okay. And Sergio Perez, once again, has the fastest lap of the race. Again. And now it's Max Verstappen versus Fernando Alonso. Again. Okay. That was one hell of an overtake from Max Verstappen there on George Russell. He just slipped straight past him, really. That was insane. Anyway, have we got any other action that could potentially start happening soon? At the moment, I can't quite tell, but we'll see. At the moment, they're just showing all the overtakes that have happened and how many drivers have how many overtakes. So, okay, so Fernando and Sergio have obviously not gained or lost any positions. They are where they started in the race. Of course, they did switch around, but they've ultimately switched back. So nothing has been gained or lost from either of them. And they're the only ones who haven't gained or lost. So that kind of tells you how good of a race Fernando and Sergio Perez have had thus far. Approaching the halfway point now, might I add. And in fact, the next lap will be the halfway point. So, oh, and here comes Max Verstappen on Fernando Alonso. Is he going to defend it? Yes, he is. Okay. Right. Okay, here comes Max Verstappen again on Fernando Alonso. Is Fernando going to defend? No, he isn't. Okay. And it's now a Red Bull 1-2. And now Max Verstappen has got to catch up to his teammates in P1. Will they swap cars? Will they maintain? Who knows? They may maintain position, they may order a switch around. We'll have to wait and see. But Max Verstappen has got a long way to catch up to Sergio Perez, with a 5.6 second gap separating the two. So that could be interesting. Yeah, the Ferraris are quite close to the Mercedes at the moment, so there could be some Mercedes versus Ferrari action in a few laps' time. Have to wait and see. Okay. Okay. Nothing seems to be happening at the moment. It seems to be settling down quite a bit. Again, I think the next major bit of action we're going to get is Max Verstappen versus Sergio Perez, but as I also said, that is probably quite a while away, considering how far behind Sergio Perez Max Verstappen is. So it is going to take a while for Max to catch up to Sergio, if he does. And Fernando Alonso seems to be trying to come back on Max Verstappen. He is a little bit too far back to get the move done, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fernando Alonso does try to come back at Max. Okay. Right. Okay. Nothing seems to be happening at the moment. The only thing that I think could happen now is Fernando Alonso trying to retake second place from Max Verstappen, which is in the realms of possibility, but we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. We have 24 laps left of the race, so crunch time is very much on its way for the drivers on track. Like, in the next few laps, we are going to start seeing some major moves, I think, because I think the second pit window opens in, I think, the next 10 or so laps. Oh. And that is Alex Albon with a brake issue, he said. Okay. Oh, wow. His brakes really aren't doing very well, Alex Albon, so maybe my points prediction for Alex Albon may not come to fruition. Oh, and that is Logan Sargent overtaking him. Okay. Okay. Okay, so Alex Albon has lost 2 places. Huh. Oh. He is slipping back. Oh. Oh. Okay. Alex Albon is slowing down. He is going quite slowly now, so he may be coming into the pits. Right. And that is Alex Albon in last place now. Okay, so we've got a bit of a brake issue, it seems. Nothing too major. But he is taking it quite slowly as to not need the brakes as much. Which, yeah, makes sense. And Lewis Hamilton has DRS on George Russell. Okay. Okay, so that's Sergio Perez. And, okay, Max Verstappen's on the fastest lap. Now that switched between the two very quickly. Oh, George Russell is... I think he might be about to be overtaken by his teammate, Lewis Hamilton. Okay. Mercedes versus Mercedes. That could be interesting. Oh. Okay. Right. Yeah, okay. This could be quite an interesting fight, a Mercedes versus a Mercedes. Haven't seen this sort of thing for a long while now. So, have to see how this goes. Ah. Okay. And that is Alex Albon coming into the pits. So it is looking as if Alex Albon is going to be out of this race, which is massive shame for Alex Albon, considering he had points in the last race. So, yeah. Here we go. Yeah, okay. So that is Alex Albon out of the race, and only his 6th retirement from a race throughout his entire career, which is pretty good. So that's factoring in his time at Toro Rosso, Red Bull, and Williams. So that's a pretty good ratio, really. Okay. So this Mercedes versus Mercedes battle could be going on for a little while longer. Have to wait and see. Martin Whitmarsh is now looking a bit nervous, as of course he is the group CEO of Aston Martin. So he's probably a bit worried now, considering that he has one car out of the race completely. Okay. And now we have Logan Sargent versus Nico Hulkenberg, down in 13th and 12th. How this one could go, I don't know. Okay, Max Verstappen still has a chokehold on fastest lap so far. Okay. Verstappen is still 5 seconds behind Perez, so if Max wants to overtake Perez, he is going to have to pick up the pace quite a bit. Because I know 5 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but in F1, it really, really, really is. Considering how fast these cars go, 5 seconds is quite a gap, really. And here comes Logan Sargent with an overtake attempt on Nico Hulkenberg, and he doesn't quite get it this time. Okay. And, is he going to give it a go? It's a bit of a drag race into turn. I'm not sure which turn this is. Okay. That was a bit of a drag race between those two there. Logan Sargent hasn't gotten the overtake done, but I wouldn't give it long before he does. Okay, Max Verstappen has slipped back ever so slightly from Sergio Perez, dropping down to 5.2 seconds. rather than the 5 seconds flat he had a minute ago. Okay, it would appear that George Russell and Lewis Hamilton have backed off from each other a little bit now, so I think that's those two quite securely positioned for a while now at least. Okay. Right. So that is now 2 cars out of this race in Lance Stroll and Alex Albon, both of which had me really surprised that those were the 2 that have gone out so far. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this race, guys, because I do think there could be more DNFs inbound, but we don't know. And it could be virtually anyone. Who knows who it could be? It could be Bottas, it could be Magnussen, it could be Verstappen, it could be literally anybody. So, have to wait and see, guys. Or, we may have all 18 remaining cars finishing the race. Who knows? Okay. This race has been pretty decent. Not as good as the last race in Bahrain, but still, this has been a pretty good one in my opinion. Okay. Yep, we have 20 laps to go now, which is quite exciting. Again, crunch time is going to start coming in soon. This race will start hotting up very quickly. I think in the next 10 laps, we're going to start to see some major moves made by some teams and some drivers to get their drivers the best possible result that they can get. Of course, the ones in major need of that are Ferrari and Mercedes, because the last race we know didn't go particularly well for Ferrari, with Charles Leclerc having his engine failure, of course. So, Ferrari and Mercedes are definitely the teams that need a good result this weekend to really secure them in the championship fight that will inevitably take place. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes, guys. Okay. Max Verstappen is gaining slightly on Sergio Perez, but frankly not by much, which is honestly really surprising because, as I said earlier, Max Verstappen is a very quick driver, so to see him not really make that much headway on Sergio Perez is quite a shock, really. Yeah, we'll have to see how this one progresses because, yeah, Max Verstappen is usually, well, as we know throughout this entire race, he's been an absolute bullet, but for some reason he just can't seem to close the gap on his teammates, so, perhaps it'll be a Perez, Verstappen, Alonso podium, I guess. Okay. And Fernando Alonso is quite a way back from Max Verstappen as well. Okay. And there's Alex Albon heading. I'm not quite sure where Alex Albon is heading, to be honest. He's not making his way back to the Williams garage, because that's where he parked, obviously. Okay. Here's a replay of Charles Leclerc going wide into turn 2, coming out of turn 1 as well. So that wasn't quite brilliant for him. Okay, now we're on lap 33 of the race. Yeah, I think from lap 40 onwards is where things are really going to start happening, and chaos is probably going to ensue very quickly from lap 40 onwards. Because, of course, it's the final few laps of the race. Everyone's going to be doing everything they can to get the best position possible when the checked flag flies. And here comes Logan Sargent again to try to take Nico Hülkenberg. Doesn't quite get it done again. But I think this move is only a matter of time, in my opinion. Logan seems to have quite a good gap to Nico Hülkenberg, so he could get him quite soon. I'm just still quite surprised how Verstappen hasn't got close to Sergio Perez yet. That really, he should be a lot closer by now, but maybe he's just biding his time. Have to wait and see, I suppose. Okay. Open house and radio from Charles Leclerc. Okay, he is, I think he's basically asking Ferrari to swap himself and Carlos Sainz around, although Leclerc is only 2 seconds behind Carlos. He is going to have to close up a bit if he does want to have that switch happen. Again, we're going to have to wait and see. There's a lot of things we're going to have to wait and see for in this race, guys. Like, so far, this race has had some action, but it's had a lot of dry spells of not much action as well. Okay. Of course, we have our race leader, Sergio Perez, still quite away from his teammate Max Verstappen. Almost at the 5-second mark still. So I think this is how that part of the podium's going to go. I think it'll be a Red Bull 1-2, bad looks of it, but it'll be reversed from the last race, which is always good for Sergio Perez. I always love to see him on the podium, as well as anyone, really. But I think this is probably going to be a Sergio Perez win, unless something happens, but you never know. Now, are we expecting any pits onto stops? Any pits onto softs, sorry. I'm going to say maybe there may be like a last ditch attempt to gain some places and maybe go for the fastest lap. Who knows? Like, okay, there's George Russell again, his helmet cam view. Still firmly in 4th place, which is really impressive. Okay. Right. Oh, and here comes Kevin Magnussen on Yuki Tsunoda. Doesn't quite get the move done, once again, like Hulkenberg and Sargent, which I think is still ongoing as a battle. So we'll have to see how that goes. And there's... Ooh, Yuki Tsunoda... Wait, one of those two has a lockup. I couldn't quite tell who it was. But there was a lockup between Tsunoda and Magnussen. Okay. And as it's just been rightly pointed out, Sergio Perez will be leading the championship at the end of this race, provided he remains in first. Okay. And as Martin Brundle rightly just said, if Max Verstappen wants to take his teammate, the time to start making headway for that is now, really. Because he is running out of laps to gain back those 5 seconds. Because those 5 seconds will take a lot of time to make up. It will take a lot of laps to get that close to him. And he is 4.5 seconds behind now, so he is beginning to make some headway on Sergio Perez. Will it be enough? Who knows? Because I sure as hell don't. Okay, he's 4.3 seconds behind him. Nowhere near in DRS range yet. Not even close. Needs another 3 seconds to be made up yet. Oh, we have team radio. And I couldn't see who that was, because there was some Sky information right over the team radio message, so I don't know whose team radio that was, which is quite annoying. And here comes an Alfa Romeo into the pits, and I believe it's Valtteri Bottas, yep, in for another pit stop of the race. Okay. Right, and that was a 3.5 second for Valtteri Bottas, which is pretty decent, to be honest, for Alfa Romeo. Okay. Right, and there's the 2 Red Bulls coming down the main straight. Of course, Sergio Perez still quite a way ahead of Max Verstappen. I'm quite surprised he is still so far ahead of him, because as I mentioned several times, Max has been an absolute bullet during this race. But Sergio, he just can't quite seem to catch up to. and I really don't know why. Okay. Oh. And Max Verstappen has said on scene radio, there's a strange noise at high speed. That could make things complicated. Well, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully it isn't. Hopefully he is just hearing things. Like, that's all he and Red Bull can hope for right now, is that Max isn't actually hearing anything. I hope. And Max Verstappen is slipping back again. Okay, yeah. Oh. Okay. Okay. Right. Max said he's feeling some vibration on the drive shaft, which is, of course, what failed yesterday during qualifying. So, is that about to rear its head again? Okay. Could that be about to rear its head again? Maybe. Is that what's slowing him down? Possibly. Oh, and both Red Bulls ran wide coming out of turn 1 into turn 2. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So Max Verstappen could be in a bit of trouble this time around. Have to wait and see how that goes. And here comes an Alfa Romeo on Logan Sargent, and it is Zhou Guanyu again. Okay, so that's Zhou Guanyu back in front of Logan Sargent. But there is an Alpha Tauri of Nick De Vries right behind him. Oh. Okay. Max is mentioning that there is a weird noise on at high speed. And now he's saying there's something wrong. Okay. 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 Max Verstappen is quite concerned, seemingly, at the moment. Could this be another DNF for him? Who knows? This could be interesting. This could put George Russell on the podium if Max Verstappen does have another drive shaft failure. He has slipped back again to 5.2 seconds. Oh, 5 point nothing. Okay. Right. That is quite concerning for Verstappen. Like, if this drive shaft fails as well, that's going to have to be another drive shaft. Okay. Okay, so Verstappen may have to play it safe for a while, just in case it is another drive shaft issue. We have got onboards from Max Verstappen. I can't hear anything weird at high speed, but obviously he can hear something different. Oh, I can hear something while he's on scene radio, like whistling, but I don't know if that's just the wind rushing through his microphone. I don't know. But Red Bull's just asking if there's any more feedback he has on this issue. And now we're into the final 10 laps. So this is where things will start to get really interesting. Okay. I'll admit that is quite concerning to hear that Red Bull is asking for any more information on that little problem Max has had. Okay. Oh, and that's Perez's radio. Okay. And Sergio Perez is now reporting issues with his brake pedal. Okay. This could potentially lead to Red Bull's undoing in this race. Yikes. Okay. Was not expecting that. Okay. Right. Okay, this is not good for Red Bull. They've definitely got some issues to keep an eye on now. Oh, Perez radio again. Okay, just a bit of wear and tear on the brake pedal. Hopefully not too much. Because as we know, if there is something wrong with a brake pedal, that generally doesn't end very well. So hopefully for Perez it isn't anything too major, and it will last him the final few laps of the race. Now, Max Verstappen, of course, does have his issue to keep an eye on, with a potential new drive shaft issue, which would hurt his race quite significantly, as he would probably have to retire, much like he did during qualifying yesterday. Okay. And it would appear that Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have ultimately decided to hold stations, so George Russell in 4th and Lewis Hamilton in 5th. However, if the Red Bulls disappear, that could potentially turn into a 2-3. But, for the moment, the Red Bulls do seem pretty safe. I'm just hoping for their sake that it does stay that way. Because that would not be good for them at all. Again, this could be Fernando Alonso's 100th podium in Formula One, which is remarkably impressive. Like, if you like him, you don't like him, you have to admit, that is an absolutely fantastic number of podiums to reach. Okay. Max is closing in again on Sergio Perez. He is approaching the 4-second mark, but he might get that, he might not. I don't know, it depends on what this issue is. If it is an issue or it's just the drive shaft still settling in, have to wait and see. Nope, okay, he is dropping back a bit again to 4.5 seconds. Oh, and that is Logan Sargent being overtaken by Nick De Vries. Okay. That's interesting. And Lando Norris might be about to take Logan Sargent as well. Okay. Although he hasn't quite got the move done yet. This could be an interesting battle to monitor. One of the new rookies versus one of the rookies from a few years ago. Okay. Oh, Perez radio. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Perez is getting some confusing information on what his lap time needs to be. Yeah, that's Red Bull weren't very clear on their radio message there to Sergio, so I'm not surprised at his confusion, really. And that's Mika Hakkinen in the McLaren garage, of course, the team he won both of his championships in 98 and 99. Okay. Ooh, and that was a lot of sparks from the underfloor on one of the curbs from the McLaren. Okay. Okay, Lando Norris is still not in front of Logan Sargent, but I wouldn't give it particularly long until that happens. Oh. Okay, Sergio Perez has just been told to push, so Max Verstappen's gains from the last few laps may start to slip away again. Which is probably very disappointing for Max. So it looks as if he won't win this race, but it doesn't look as if Fernando Alonso will catch him either. So it does look to be a Perez, Verstappen, Alonso podium. In fact, I'd be very surprised if that isn't the final result of the race. Okay. Okay. Quite an interesting stat there. Max Verstappen has led a World Championship for 33 consecutive races now, which is kind of insane, really. And of course, 33 was his old race number before he won his first championship in 2021. Okay. Right. Okay, it looks as if Max Verstappen is slipping back down to a 5-second gap from Sergio Perez, who we are on board with right now. And yep, Sergio does have a very clear track ahead of him. He hasn't quite found any cars to lap yet. Oh, Valtteri Bottas radio. Oh. 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 Valtteri Bottas may be about to retire from the race due to some damage he supposedly has. Okay. Once again, there's Sergio Perez, quite a way ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen. And at the moment, he would get the fastest lap point as well, which would knock him up to 26 points from this race. Okay. I mean, despite Max not getting into first place, a battle from 15th to 2nd is an absolutely Herculean effort from Max Verstappen. So I have got to take my hat off to him. He has done a brilliant job today. Just a shame he wasn't able to get into that first place position. Because with only 5 laps to go and 5.5 seconds gap, I doubt he will get the first place. So I think Max Verstappen is going to have to settle for second here. But I don't think he's going to complain too much about that. Okay, it does seem to be a bit of a McLaren versus McLaren battle now between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, but Lando Norris has... Well, Oscar Piastri has now got ahead of Lando Norris, so Lando may try and take that place back from Oscar in a moment. That was really easy for Oscar Piastri. I haven't seen too much defending today. Like, anyone who's tried an overtake, the driver they're overtaking has kind of just let them through. Oh, we have some... Okay. Oh. We have some Max Verstappen radio asking about the fastest lap. Red Bull replied with, "We're not concerned," and Max Verstappen said, "Well, I am." Okay. So it looks as if Red Bull doesn't think Max can gain the fastest lap. Ooh. And now we've got a bit of a ding-dong battle between Yuki Tsunoda and Kevin Magnussen. Yep. Okay. And it looks as if this could be going on for a little bit longer because they're both really close to each other and seem to be swapping back and forth a little bit. Okay. Okay. We're on lap 46. There's only a few left. Okay. Just heard a radio message from Sonoda, and all it was a scream. So that must have been when he noticed that Kev Magnussen was right alongside him. So that was admittedly quite a funny radio message. Now we're on lap 47, so only a couple of laps left to go. So, And it looks as if that safety car has only added on a few minutes to this race. Because I said this race would be about an hour and 15 minutes, but it's looking to be more like an hour and a half, which, okay, that's not too bad. But we'll have to wait and see. So it hasn't added too much onto the race, which isn't that bad, to be honest. And if Max finishes in second, which it does look like he's going to, he'll be on 43 points in total, factoring in his win from last week and his 18 points he'll get from second place today. And he has slipped back to 6 seconds from Sergio Perez. So, Verstappen seems to be losing time against his teammate, which is really unlike Verstappen. Maybe he is looking after the drive shaft to make sure an issue doesn't crop up, which, okay. Okay. And if Sergio Perez leads the championship today, this will be the first time ever that a Mexican driver has led the championship, which is really interesting. Oh? Mercedes have just reported to Russell there could be a 5-second penalty for Fernando Alonso at the very end of the race, but I don't know what for. Okay. Interesting. Okay. That's weird. I don't know what Fernando Alonso could be penalised for, because I haven't seen anything other than his starting grid infringement, which he's already served. So, okay. Have to keep an eye on that. And Max has slipped away from Sergio Perez again, dropping down to 6.5 seconds from his teammate. So, I think quite comfortably now, Sergio Perez has probably won this race with only 2.5 laps to go now. Oh no, 2 laps now. So within the next 3 minutes or so, Sergio Perez will most likely come home to win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and secure his first win of the season. Of course, I was predicting Fernando Alonso win. That win has obviously not come today. Will it come in the future? Very possibly. But today, very clearly, was not that day. But third, he will definitely be happy in third, I think. But I'm not sure what. Okay. Oh. Okay. They have told Fernando to speed up a bit, because they do think 5 seconds could be on. Well, that they're going to try and get him to 5 seconds in case a 5-second penalty is applied, and it would appear that Fernando Alonso has done that. Okay. Okay, so Fernando Alonso is going to have to pick up the pace a bit going into this final lap. And now we're on the final lap of the race. So within the next few moments, Sergio Perez will win the race. Okay, George Russell's just said, is he getting a podium because I'm pushing like a madman? And Mercedes responded with, "Keep pushing like a madman, just in case." But Fernando needs to start pushing as well, in case he does get that penalty. We'll have to wait and see, because I haven't seen anything being investigated officially, which is quite unusual. Okay. And here comes Sergio Perez on his way to winning the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix any moment now, I think. Yep. Here he comes. Okay. And he's actually won this race from pole, only losing it temporarily in the first stint. Here we go. And Sergio Perez wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the first time that he's won a race, with his teammate Max Verstappen in second. And Max Verstappen has taken fastest lap off of Sergio Perez. And here comes Fernando Alonso to take the third position of the race. And George Russell will finish less than over 5 seconds from Fernando Alonso. So if he does get a penalty, a 5-second penalty, Fernando will retain third place. There we go. And very interesting fact here. This is the 17th anniversary of Fernando Alonso's 25th podium, and if he doesn't get this penalty, he will have gained his 100th podium on the 17th anniversary. Wow! Brilliant finish for Fernando Alonso there. Hopefully for him that penalty doesn't come through, but again, I haven't seen that anything's been investigated, so it's unlikely that penalty is real and is potentially going to be applied, because we would know about that by now. But there is some drivers still yet to come through to finish the race. And there we are. And now we'll just wait. Now just waiting on Valtteri Bottas to come through to secure ultimately last place. And so as of now, the race is over. And that is a understandably very, very happy Sergio Perez. I can't blame him in the slightest. Very happy for him. And I don't know if he's leading the championship now. It may still be maxed by a point or so. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, that was a great result for Sergio Perez there. He doesn't. So Max is still in the lead of the championship by probably a point or so. Here's Max Verstappen's radio. And driver of the day is Max Verstappen. Unsurprisingly so, because again, 15th to 2nd. That is one hell of a result for Red Bull, securing another 1-2, the second of the season and second in a row. This has gotten Red Bull off to a very good start for this season. Wow. I'll admit, not the most entertaining of races. There was quite a few slow points throughout, but ultimately it wasn't a bad race, but there wasn't too much happening, which was quite a shame. Of course, Lance Stroll's breakdown is still quite a mystery to me. I still don't know really what happened to his car. I'm going to assume that it was a brake overheating. I'm guessing anyway. Okay. And they're all lining up on the grid because the car podium is actually on the grid in this track. Unlike every other track on the grid, where the car podium, I suppose, is under the actual podium. So here comes the 3 podium drivers into the pits to get ready to go onto the podium itself. Anyway, I'm just going to quickly cover up to the podium, and I'll sign off on the stream. Okay. And that's Mikey, Fernando Alonso's engineer, congratulating Sergio Perez on his win, which is really cool to see. Oh, wow. That was a really good win for Sergio Perez, I can't lie. I'm really happy to see that happened. Oh, careful, Sergio. Don't fall over. Okay, so here comes a podium for Sergio. And Max. Okay. And there's Sergio Perez being weighed. Of course, they have to do this at the end of every race for, procedural reasons. Okay. I think Max Verstappen is about to be weighed himself. And that's a very, very happy Christian Horner, congratulating his driver on winning the race, along with Adrian Newey. And David Coulthard will be performing the post-race interviews, of course, with David Coulthard last racing for Red Bull. Okay. And here comes the post-race interviews. Pretty decent race, but again, not too much action, so not as entertaining as the last race in Bahrain. It's still a pretty good one. And this is Sergio Perez's 5th win in F1 after starting in 2011. So that's not too bad, really, considering that all 5 came from 2020 onwards, because of course his first win was in Bahrain in 2020, when of course and it was the same race that Romain Grosjean had his terrifying crash that of course ended his Formula 1 career a couple of races earlier than it was than he was planning to. But that was one hell of an ending, I can't lie. It was a slow race, but not too bad of an ending in my opinion. And here we have a very happy Max Verstappen coming along his way, ready to accept 2nd place. And okay, and here comes, I'm going to assume, Max Verstappen for his interview. I'm assuming anyway. Nope, it's Fernando Alonso. And this is his 100th podium. Wow, 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 wow. And he is incredibly happy about it. So Fernando Alonso right now is a very happy chappy, to say the least. And I can't blame him one bit. Hell, at 41, if I was still on the F1 podiums, I'd be buzzing as well. And of course, Sergio Perez is drinking, I'm going to assume, water out of a Red Bull bottle, because, well, he's driving for Red Bull. Of course he has to drink from a Red Bull bottle. And now Aston Martin's making a Fernando chant. Of course they are, why wouldn't they? And they're singing it in the tune of Seven Nation Army. Yes, I approve. I fully approve of that. That is really cool. Yep. And that's a very happy Fernando Alonso. Love to see that. And now we have an incredibly happy Max Verstappen. Yep. And he's still leading the championship thanks to the fastest lap. Well, that was actually quite a surprising ending. I thought Max Verstappen would have had a chance to get the win, but for some reason he just couldn't get close to Sergio, which, not sure what happened there. I'm going to guess Max Verstappen went into damage control mode in case there was an issue with the drive shaft, which I'm going to guess ultimately there wasn't. But there might have been, so he was probably told on a private scene radio that wasn't broadcast to maybe kind of hold station a bit and don't push too much, just in case the drive shaft does come loose again. Or whatever happened to it yesterday. I'm unsure what exactly happened to it, but we'll have to see. Okay, and here they all go into the cooldown room for a moment for the podium, which is where I'm going to sign this stream off once they've done the podium ceremony. Okay, so all the drivers are in the cooldown room now, having a quick chat after the race. We'll say all the drivers, I mean Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen. And Fernando Alonso has put his podium baseball cap on his helmet. Okay, sure. Yeah, I will. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can respect that. And Max Verstappen does lead the championship by a single point from Sergio Perez. And then Fernando Alonso's 13 points behind Sergio Perez in third. So this could be quite a tight championship if this sort of gap maintains throughout. Okay. Yeah, okay. This could be quite an interesting championship if things continue to go the way they are now. Like, Australia is once again a very different track to Saudi Arabia, so next time out in Australia could be quite interesting, frankly, and quite unpredictable, really. Pretty much anything could happen, so we are going to have to wait and see how that all goes. Okay, so now all the drivers are having a chat about the race and how they all got on during it. And Max Verstappen has stolen Sergio Perez's chair. And Fernando Alonso has now stolen Max Verstappen's chair. Okay. Oh, and off they go to the podium. At which point they'll be given their trophies, and Sergio Perez will be given his winner's medal as well as his trophy. Yeah, that's a lot of happy Aston Martin crew. And that's a lot of very happy Red Bull crew members as well. Just a shame that Lance Stroll went out of the race as well, which I'm sure was quite disappointing for Stroll. But thankfully, Fernando Alonso managed to do some damage control in terms of his results. So thank goodness for that. Right, let's get to this podium. Okay, here they come. And here comes Fernando Alonso to get his 100th podium. Wow. That is mad. Okay. And he takes his place on the podium. Okay. And Sergio Perez comes to take the top step. And now we're going to have the trophies given out, the constructors, second, third, and first. Oh, no, it's the anthems. So we're getting the Mexican national anthem now, with the Swiss anthem afterwards. I'll just keep quiet while the anthems are happening. And here's the Swiss anthem for Red Bull. Oh no, the Austrian anthem, sorry. Oops. And that's the anthems done. Now for the trophies. First up, it'll be Sergio Perez getting his trophy for first place. And I'm going to guess his medal will be up in a moment. There it is. Okay. And here comes the Constructors' Trophy for Red Bull. And then, in a moment, we're going to have the second place trophy for Max Verstappen. And the third place for Fernando Alonso. There we are. And lastly, Fernando Alonso with the third place trophy. And once this is done, I will sign off. And that is an incredibly Fernando Alonso taking that trophy. Will that maintain? Because it would appear that the stewards are investigating the penalty serving. So we'll have to wait and see. So guys, that's going to do it for this Formula 1 race commentary and AstCa news for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So thank you all for joining, and if you've liked this stream, please subscribe to my channel at Astounding Cameron, and Roxana Roxaruni, and Roxana Mionette. Her link will be in the description, and if you click the description as well, you'll head into my link tree, which will contain all my social medias. Please like the video as well, and share this video with all your friends. They can join the infinite loop of liking, subscribing, commenting, following, and sharing, and around and around and around that loop. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video, and next weekend with another Astoundcast. Goodbye. Bye, everyone.